Hey guys, Sarah Halina here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Doogie Kamealoha, MD, so stay tuned. Okay, so Doogie Kamealoha, MD, has finished its first season, and I have some thoughts. So, first we're going to go into non-spoiler thoughts, so that way if you haven't seen the show yet, you can hear my thoughts without getting spoiled. And then I will dive into my spoiler thoughts, even though there isn't really anything big to spoil. Nonetheless, I'm saving plot points and everything like that for the spoiler section. Timestamps are in the description down below if you just want to skip to whatever part you want. Okay. So my non-spoiler thoughts. Lahela is 16 years old and is a child prodigy who is trying to be a normal teenager while also dealing with the responsibilities of being a doctor. We watch her try to find her place in the world where she is too grown up for the teenage world, but too young for the adult world. Now, it's based on the TV series Doogie Howser, MD. Now, haven't seen that show, but it's confirmed not to be a continuation of the show. I'm not even sure if you can really consider it an adaptation of it, maybe. I don't really know what we're calling it. But what I can tell you is that you don't have to have seen Doogie Howser, MD to understand this show. Now, they do address, the Doogie Howser connection, I guess, in the first episode when Lahela is called Doogie because of Doogie Howser, MD, essentially. So, basically, Doogie Howser, MD is a show that exists within Doogie Kamealoha, MD, so I guess that's all you really need to know in terms of the Doogie Howser, MD connection. I don't know. Yeah. Despite it being a medical show, there isn't, the blood and gore that you would typically find in a medical drama that's geared towards adults. But they do talk about, illnesses and injuries and, death and all that. So, I guess keep that in mind when deciding to begin the show. And also there is some lines, I guess, of dialogue that are, I guess, sexual, in nature. There's no sex scenes, though. So that's, nothing you have to really worry about there. But the dialogue in a few scenes is very sexualized. Now, it may fly over young children's heads, but older kids, preteen to teenage will probably understand it, so keep that in mind. I mean, I guess the argument that if they can understand it, then they're old enough for it, but, parents might, have some different thoughts in that regard. So, yeah, keep that in mind that, the older kids will probably understand the sexual references and act accordingly, I guess. Anyways, now I'm going to be diving into spoilers, I guess. If you haven't seen the show, go watch it, come back here, hear what I liked, hear what I didn't like, all that fun stuff. So, yeah, spoilers are going to be discussed. Minor spoilers, I guess, but still spoilers. So, spoilers ahead, I guess. What I liked that we got to see Lahela reflecting on the events of the episode in the form of a vlog/video diary. It makes sense since she is a teenager at heart. She is 16. She does have 16-year-old friends. Yeah, so she's basically a teenager at heart in an era where social media plays a role in so many people's lives, especially the teens. So it's fun to see her reflect and work through things that are going on in her life in a way that speaks to so many nowadays. I also enjoyed Lahela and her mother Clara's dynamic with each other. I enjoyed not only the typical mother and teenage daughter problems, where Lahela wants to be treated as an adult, but Clara is treating her like a teenager that she is. But I also liked, the dynamic of, trying to navigate Clara being Lahela's boss. So, she's just constantly in her mother's world, and her mother is constantly in charge of her in many ways. And I really like seeing all those different dynamics between Lahela and Clara. I really appreciated it in the finale where Lahela wants to follow her boyfriend to Australia for the summer, but Clara refuses to let her because she's in the middle of her residency and she puts her foot down as both Lahela's mother and her boss. So, it's moments like that where I'm like, yeah, she is still a teenager, despite the fact that she is becoming this doctor. So, yeah. Minor thing, I guess. I loved seeing Hawaii. Like, never been to Hawaii. Don't know if it's in the future or not, but as of now, have not been to Hawaii, so it was really great to, see pieces of it for me, I guess. Especially now that it's, like, so cold here. It's like seeing, nice, warm Hawaii. It's like, I wish. I love that in the finale they had Lahela and Walter go on their separate journeys. So, Walter being Lahela's boyfriend and everything, they want to, stick together. Like, they're in the beginning of their relationship. They don't want to, be apart from each other, but they realize that they need to go their, not really separate ways, but, go on this journey. Like, Lahela was going to abandon the hospital to go to Australia with Walter, who was going to Australia on a surfing tour, but then Walter decides to give it up because, the hospital and being a doctor means so much to Lahela. But after Lahela talks to her mother, she realizes that Walter needs to go on the tour because, like, the hospital and becoming a doctor means a lot to her. The surfing tour means a lot to Walter. So, they both sort of learn that they can't hold each other back. It was a surprisingly grown-up move from two people who are teenagers. It's presumably both of their first relationships, or at the very least, like, they haven't had many relationships. Onto what I didn't like. I mean, I talked about this in the non-spoiler section, but I'm going to talk about it here too. I didn't really particularly like the sexualized comments, like talking about, second base and frontal grinding and wishing they were a towel when seeing, Walter come out of the water. It was a little much. Like, most of these lines of dialogue could have been removed or phrased in a less sexualized way, and, it would have still had, like, sort of the same context. There really wasn't much need for, these particular lines of dialogue at all. And in many ways, I feel like these lines of dialogue changed the show from being a family-friendly show to one that parents need to screen before deciding to let their children watch it. I just think it was unnecessary more than anything. And I think it really kind of, hurt that, family-friendly type show. I also found Lahela's best friend Steph to be very annoying. At first it was fine. Like, the first episode or two, I was like, okay, whatever. But, by the time we got to the final episode, I was just like, like, she was written so annoyingly. Like, it's nothing against the actress. Like, it was clear that she was playing the role. But the role of the best friend was annoying. Now, I know that I talked about the grown-up decision that Walter and Lahila made in the final episode, but I really kind of wish that the show had balanced, being a doctor and having a boyfriend just a little bit better. Like, it felt like by the end it was more about Lahila's relationship with Walter than it was about her being a doctor. Just sort of a minor annoyance for me, but I really wish that we had focused more on her being a doctor than her relationship with Walter. Maybe balance the scales a little more evenly, but that's just me, I guess. But also another thing that I really didn't like, even though that I enjoyed that they made Lahila lose her first patient in the first episode, I really do wish that we had spent more time with him over the course of, like, a few episodes, maybe 2 to 3 episodes, before we killed him off. I mean, they managed to write enough of, like, a backstory, I guess, to him and Lahila having enough of a bond that, I was heartbroken to see him die, and watching Lahila deal with her grief, just kind of broke my heart. But I felt like I would have felt more, maybe other people would have felt more, if we had seen, this patient throughout more episodes and really got to see his and Lahila's bond. I don't know. Overall, this was a fun show that was more enjoyable than I expected it to be. Like, I went in thinking, okay, it's going to be fine. It was a little bit more enjoyable than that. There seems to be a lot of people who saw the original Doogie Howser MD, and they seem to not really be on board with this show. But, as someone who didn't see the original, I really enjoyed Doogie Kamealoha MD. Hope we get a second season. I don't know. So, let me know. What did you think of Doogie Kamealoha MD? Did you watch Doogie Howser MD back in the day? I'm really curious to hear all your thoughts, so let me know in the comments down below. And if you liked this video, leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you can be notified when I upload my latest videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye, guys!